Okay, everybody, what is up? Good evening. Another Seattle Seahawks football fest is now in the rear view mirror. It wrapped up maybe about half an hour ago, and we do have some things to talk about, although I will say not as much as I would have expected. There wasn't a lot of minutia coverage this year, I felt like. There was a lot of coverage of things in general, but overall, it kind of felt like that you had to be there to get a full picture of what really went down from play to play. And obviously, because I'm here making this video right now, I was not there. So I'm going to talk about what can be talked about. I'm going to pass along what I can pass along. But overall, it does kind of feel like that the mock game under Mike McDonald has been kind of altered. I remember under Pete Carroll, this used to be very similar to an actual game in terms of flow. Now it's really not. All right, this video is sponsored by Prize Picks. So let's talk about what can be talked about. I'm just going to go through things in kind of a random order here, things that I heard, things that I picked up on. So yeah, Fan Fest, Football Fest, mock game, simulated game, whatever you want to call it. Let's get into it. First, though, there was a little roster note today. The Seahawks signed an Auburn running back, Justin Jones. He didn't really play running back very much. He was mostly a special teamer, but we're shuffling stuff in the back end of the roster. I know we released a player that we just signed like a day ago yesterday for Jones. And the interesting thing about this is that you're going to be a little bit worried about Jadarian Price now because we signed another running back, but more on that a little bit later. It doesn't seem like that's really the takeaway here. But nevertheless, we have another running back in the building, Justin Jones. Okay, so on to stuff that happened on the field. First, let's start with some of the bigger things because Greg Bell posted this article on the News Tribune, which is a great resource for a rundown of some of the big happenings on the field at Lumen earlier this evening. He pointed out a couple of like the things that you would expect. JSN had a really nice play in a one-on-one drill where he beat Josh Jobe for a touchdown. Jobe was able to break up a pass to Cooper Kupp in the end zone. And he also had a breakup on, Devin Witherspoon had a breakup against Cooper Kupp as well. So remember, Witherspoon was frustrated because Kupp beat him on a slant route yesterday. So Witherspoon kind of got him back. And those were the main highlights of like the obvious stars on this team. But to me, the highly thought of player that really stood out today was Elijah Arroyo. So Elijah Arroyo, according to Greg Bell here in this article, one-on-one goal line, he beat Bud Clark for a touchdown. And then later, he also beat Clark on a deep in route for another catch. So multiple big plays for Arroyo. And then he had a touchdown in 11 on 11, juking out Julian Love. So that's 3 big plays for Elijah Arroyo today. And he's been really good so far in camp. So it seems like we're at least getting the early indicators of something good here. So that's nice. That would be very, very useful if we could lean on Elijah Arroyo for the season. And he was probably the player I heard the most positive about today. And that's the one that really counts for something, right? Because a lot of these players we're going to talk about in this video are guys that have low odds or long odds or however you want to put it of making the team at all. So Elijah Arroyo, that's kind of the star of the show tonight, in my opinion. All right, guys, let's take a quick break here to talk a little bit about Prize Picks, currently the #1 sports pick app in America. The app is very easy to use. Check it out to my left here. You can do player picks, where you just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Or you can pick teams, where you pick winners, spread, or total on any game or fight. The app is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. Right now, they have a great offer. You can play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in lineups if you win. All you have to do is use code HMA when you sign up. It's a brand new offer. Best time possible to get on the app. So get on over there and get to winning that first lineup. So remember, Prize Picks, code HMA. Download the app today, and remember to always gamble responsibly. Okay, so going beyond that, Jadarian Price, and this was obviously one of the most intriguing subplots of the game tonight. Jadarian Price was not on the field for warm-ups, and he ended up not partaking. He was in street clothes. He was there, so he's alive. We know that, but no practice for him. Also, no Julian Neal. Both those guys being held out with injuries. Now, in the case of Jadarian Price, I do have good news. According to Jeremy Fowler here, his absence is not serious. Mike McDonald says Price has leg soreness, but is expected back in a few days. And I believe that McDonald reiterated that in his post-game press conference. So I don't think we have anything really to worry about here. Obviously, we would have liked it if he had been able to play tonight. But I will say I did hear that Wilson and Holani looked pretty good tonight, and they got that opportunity because of this. At least in part. I mean, we know Price would have played a lot if he had been available. So, doesn't seem like we have to be really concerned here. Also, good news on an injury front would be Nick Emanwari. He's walking around. He did a little bit of stretching before the game. He obviously didn't play in the game, but he is working his way back. I don't think we have anything to worry about here. Looks like he is going to be ready for the opener. And at the very least, I think we are a ways away from having to worry about that. Now, it may not be impossible, but I don't think we're doing anybody a service by stressing out about it at this moment. Okay, so some of the highlights of today. AJ Finley. AJ Finley had an interception of Sam Darnold, and you might be wondering, well, what's the big deal about that? Because the play, Sam Darnold threw an out route to JSN, and JSN fell down. That's why the interception happened. But remember, AJ Finley tore his ACL in the mock game last season. So a year ago, almost to the day, at the exact same annual event, he gets an interception of Sam Darnold, which you know that meant something to him. And I don't know if AJ Finley has a place on this team going forward because we got a lot going on in the secondary right now, but this team likes him. They like him enough to keep him around for as long as they have, and I'm sure that interception meant a lot to him because his career was put in jeopardy at this event last season. Very, very good. So, that was one of the highlights of the day. Very meaningful. One of the other big performers today was Montori Foster Jr., and you could argue that he was the most notable player tonight. I know I said Arroyo, but the thing to remember is that Arroyo is a guy who we know is going to make the team and know is going to play. Foster is fighting for his life on the 53-man. But we've heard so many good things about Foster so far in camp. And today he had a touchdown against Andre Fuller running a really good route in one-on-one. And then he also had a 48-yard touchdown in, I think it was 11-on-11. So that's 2 touchdowns for Montori Foster. He really wants to make this team. And it's not going to be easy, right? He's competing against Cody White, Ricky White, Irv Charles, Emmanuel Henderson. There's probably one spot for those 5 guys. That's 5 players who all bring different things to the table, competing for one spot. I don't know if Foster can do it, but he's not going to die wondering because he is doing everything that he can to get that 6th spot. If we carry a 6th receiver at all, which I think we will, but Montori Foster Jr. has had a great camp. So shout out to him. He's given it everything that he's got. Another safety interception from a guy who's fighting to make this team. Rodney Thomas, Drew Lock telegraphed a throw, right to Rodney Thomas. Rodney Thomas returns it about 20 yards. So he's a guy who's trying to make this team, and that kind of stuff is going to help. And that is, for the most part, about all we're going to get from this football fest, because unfortunately it ended earlier than expected. I don't know if that was the plan. I don't know if it happened because players started getting hurt, because near the end of practice we did start to see a couple of injuries. Luckily nobody major, but maybe it ended early because they didn't want to risk it, or maybe this is just how Mike McDonald does things. But Logan Brown got dinged up on a late play. Chris Paul Jr. got his leg or maybe ankle injured as well. Chris Paul, that one's annoying because he just got better. So hopefully that ends up being nothing. But as of right now, I'm not super enthused about that. Mason Richmond also got banged up early, did not come back. So we did have a couple of injuries coming out of this one. Doesn't seem like anything terrible. And these are not players that are overly important to this team. But I think Richmond and Chris Paul both have reasonable chances of making the roster. So, yeah, making the roster. They both at least have a chance. So, not good, especially for Chris Paul because he's missed so much of camp already. Okay, so that's really about all there is. Robbie Oots was also seen in street clothes on the sideline, so he's still around. He's still kicking. Obviously, we don't know how close he is to being able to play, but the fact that he's on the sideline is better news than what we've gotten recently, so I like that. Um, we got this quote from AJ Finley. So AJ Finley, one of the stars of the show tonight because of his pick, talking up Montori Foster. So it feels like we've had 5 different players on the Seahawks talking about how good Montori Foster has been in camp so far. I know Pritchett did it. I think JSN did it. Now we've got AJ Finley. We've had some coaches too. That's kind of your under the radar stud that could surprisingly make the team. There was one point tonight where apparently he was running with the first team. Really cool stuff there. And to wrap us up, we had this from Josh Haidt of, I believe, yeah, he's the Hawks Eye podcast guy. Riley Mills. Riley Mills was apparently constantly in the backfield during the game, during the practice. So that was kind of the final little bit of player hype we got tonight. And that's a big one because if Riley Mills is good this year, this interior defensive line is going to be impossible. Impossible to deal with. So cool stuff here. Also, he shouts out Wilson and Helani, Arroyo, and Horton. I didn't mention Horton earlier, but looking 100%. So pretty encouraging overall. But as of right now, I don't know if we're going to get too much more than what we've got here. Like, this is a good amount of information, but I don't know if there's going to be a lot more to say. So I don't know if I'm going to make another mock game video tomorrow morning. We'll see. But I think that about takes us home here. I think that about closes things out. And if more stuff is passed along over the next like 12 hours, I'll make another video about it. But I believe that is basically a rundown of everything we got. Okay, so I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you guys think. Overall, seems like a pretty good day. And I think I got what we needed. I would have liked more, would have liked a little bit more play-by-play, but I don't know if there is play-by-play to give because we don't seem to do the simulated game stuff anymore. I guess that was a Carol thing. All right. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Everyone have a good rest of your evening. I'm going to be streaming The Witcher in a little bit here. Going to be doing on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick, so come watch if you want to, and go Hawks.